So yeah, hi everybody. Thank you very much for joining me today on this webinar. Before I do start, there are just a few general housekeeping points to note. You should have all joined with your camera and microphones switched off. At the end of the webinar, there will be an opportunity for you to ask any questions. So please keep your questions until the end. And at that time, if you mention in the chat that you have a question, I will then invite you to unmute your microphone and switch on your camera if you wish, so that you can ask your question. We've got 38 in the room. That's fantastic. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive in. So who am I and what do I do? So yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for joining me on this webinar. It's going to be about a 30-minute webinar, give or take. And yeah, so my name is Rich. I'm the SEO specialist here at Access Point Legal, where I work within the media team, where we deliver website design, website build and maintenance, the full social media management service. And my area of specialism is search engine optimization. In the next half hour or so, I'm going to talk you through what's happening with Google's AI overviews, and I will try to explain why you might be seeing your website traffic declining, and I guess more importantly, why it's not really that much of an issue and what you could do today to capitalize on this really great new Google feature. At the very least, I hope you leave this webinar with just a little bit more awareness and understanding as to what's going on. Next slide. Okay. So let's start with the basics. What are AI overviews? So if you've searched on Google recently, you may have seen a big summary box that appears at the top of this search results page, much the same as the example that you can see on the screen here. What you can see there, that's an AI overview. In this example, I searched on Google, do I need a will if I have no assets? I got an instant answer written by Google's AI. And what Google's doing is it's drawing in content and information from lots of different websites, and it's combining it all into a single view to provide you, the user, with a quick summary. And the intention is to provide the user with an accurate and succinct answer to their query. So that's what an AI overview essentially is. So why does this matter for you? Why is it important for you? Why does it matter? Why is it important for your law firm? Well, Google has been gradually rolling this AI overviews feature out more and more across the world. And of course, because we see it here in the UK also. In fact, AI overviews was introduced in the UK in around about August 2024. So it's around about a year old already. And of course, as you have seen, we see it appearing on many types of searches, including legal related searches too. But why does this matter? Well, even if your website is ranking high for certain keywords or key phrases, it's very likely that people might not even be clicking through to your website, or at least as much as they were before. And that's simply because they're getting their answer directly from Google's AI overview. They have no reason to click through to your website because they've got the answer that they came looking for. But what makes an AI overview different? Traditional search results will often display a quote, which is usually your meta description for the page in question, and the blue link. The blue link being the blue link that we're all very familiar with when you get your 10 results on a Google page. And that link takes the user to just one source, i.e. your website. AI overviews are a little bit smarter than that, and AI overviews are a mashup of all the really good stuff that's available online. It's a confident AI summary, and it takes pieces of content from different trustworthy places, and it will compile that into a single succinct summary. And I highlight the word trustworthy there because I will come back to it later on. So what does it mean for your website? What does it mean for your law firm? So what we're seeing is organic impressions go up, i.e. your pages are being seen more in Google, but the number of clicks are reducing, i.e. the number of people who are clicking to come through to your website. And why is this? Well, simply put, it's because users are seeing your really great content in the AI overview, and they're getting the answer. They're not clicking through because they've already got the answer. Okay, so we know what an AI overview is. We know how it's working, and we understand why it's having an impact on our website traffic. So what type of content is most affected or being most affected by these AI overviews? The introduction of AI overviews will mostly affect your FAQ style pages, or say your general legal explainers, i.e. information. So that's questions like, what is probate? How much does conveyancing cost? Or perhaps, what is a child's arrangement order? These are the types of queries where Google can really easily compile an answer and present this answer to the user in the AI overview. Again, I've mentioned it before many times, it's providing a quick and succinct response to the user, which negates the need for that user to click through to your website. Okay, panic not, it's not always a ranking issue. This is a really important point to note. The traffic to your website, although it's dropping, doesn't always mean that your SEO, your optimization efforts have failed. You may very well still be ranking in the same position or perhaps even higher in the organic search results. But because the AI overview is effectively stealing away that click from you, your traffic drops. And this is a shift in user behavior, not necessarily a drop in your ranking position. But beware, of course, if you neglect your website content and if you neglect your SEO efforts, your optimization efforts, then you may find that you lose search engine results page position, and therefore you will naturally lose those clicks. And that is not because of AI overviews. Here's a quick insight for you. A recent study and a publication by Ahrefs stated that, and I will quote this, higher SERP rankings are associated with a greater likelihood of being cited in AI overviews. So what we can confidently take from this is that if your website is being cited in AI overview and subsequently you're losing the clicks, then you are also likely to be ranking high in the search engine results page, which increases the chances of being clicked. And that increased of chance of being clicked is when the user wants to get more information, or perhaps they want to contact you directly so that they can transact, so they can buy your service. Okay. So this is all really interesting, or at least I find it interesting. And yeah, it's useful to know. But what can you do about it? First thing is to focus on trust. I've mentioned trust a few times already. Google really values experience, expertise, authority, and trust, or EEAT, as it's commonly referred to. So to demonstrate that you excel in these particular key areas, you should show your team bios. You should add testimonials to your website content. You should show your accreditations, maybe mention any memberships that you have, your Law Society memberships, any memberships to say resolution, for example. Perhaps include some case studies. All of this content on your website helps to build trust with Google, but it also helps to build the trust with real people too. So here's a little takeaway for you. Consider EEAT every time you update existing content or you upload new content. Remember that being cited in the AI overview is not a bad thing. Yes, it might be stealing clicks, but it's also confirmation that Google likes your website, it likes the content, enough so that it's going to use that content in the AI overview. It is also likely that your page is already ranking very high in the SERP, as per the Ahrefs findings. And being mentioned in the AI overview, yes, you're losing the click, but what it means is that you're building brand awareness at the very top of that funnel where people are looking for information. Just trying to move to the next slide. There we are. Sorry. They're all for experience, expertise, a word I can never say, so I just say authority and trust. Okay. So what else can we do? Well, we need to be specific. We need to be niche and we need to be local. But what does that mean? Okay, so be specific. Don't just write general content like what is divorce. Instead, talk about how perhaps divorce works in your local area, in your local court. Perhaps share a real story, a case study, and write about specific niche elements of the subject, in this example, divorce. Notice I say don't just write about what is divorce. Of course, you should absolutely, do write about what is divorce, perhaps as an overarching subject, but then add additional content that supports that overarching subject, and additional content that maybe responds to some of the more niche aspects of divorce too. So here's takeaway number 2 for you. Be specific, be niche, be local. What we are trying to achieve here is specificity, another word that I struggle to say. We're no longer content with just answering those very generic queries. We are trying to broaden our information store to appeal to some of the more niche queries. Okay, so what else can we do? Well, we can and we absolutely should structure our content properly. Make your content easy to read. That's both for people and for Google. So we use things like the correct use of headings. We use within our content bullet points and numbered lists. We use we include FAQs and we include summaries. Internal links are also really important. That's linking within your own website to other related content, but links out to reputable external sources is also really important. So, for example, you might link to Resolution or you might link to Kafkas. And remember that if Google can understand your content easily, then it is more likely to surface that content in search results, your organic search results, but also in AI overviews. Another takeaway for you then, remember we are trying to appeal to Google because we want Google to notice us. And it's a little bit like we're standing in a crowd and we're waving our hands and we're yelling, choose me. But to be chosen, you need to be choosable, even if that is a word. So structure your content well in order to stand a better chance of being chosen. And these are all little tick boxes. You tick each of these boxes, and every time you tick one of these critical boxes, you are increasing your chances of being seen by the user in the organic search results, but also being seen by Google, who will use your content in the AI overviews. Okay, what else can we do? So a strategy to get the click. I know we've spent a lot of time talking about how AI overviews is taking away the click, but a strategy you can use to get the click is to use different content formats. So, for example, include in your content things like short videos, audio recordings, and maybe some downloadable PDF guides, for example. All of these different types of content give people a reason to visit your website directly. AI overviews are great, but they can't summarize a testimonial video or perhaps a calculator tool, for example. These need to be accessed by the user, and to access them, they need to visit your website, which will be a click. So takeaway number 4, I think, is, yeah, add more than just words. Words are good. Words are great. We get excited when we see ourselves featured in the AI overviews. But beyond that, we also want users to progress beyond the AI overview and to click through to the website to get more information and to transact. So varied content will certainly help in that area. Okay, I feel like we've absolutely flown through these slides. I'm certainly looking forward to Q&As. If you've got any questions, remember there's an opportunity at the end to ask those. The final thoughts and actions. So let's wrap up before we get into the Q&As. So to summarize, AI overviews are affecting user behavior. That's just a fact. We can see it in the data, especially on FAQs and general information. These are informational type searches where a user is looking for information only. Remember, a user cannot buy a service from the AI. In order to buy that service, they need to interact with you, and to do that, they need to click through to your website. So being featured in the AI overview and also ranking high in the search engine results page, that will boost your chances of securing that click. Okay, you might still be ranking high in the SERP, but just not getting those clicks, and we understand why that is now. And it's not necessarily a problem, because as we've said before, if you're being included in Google's AI overview, then that is proof that Google rates your content highly enough to use it. So we should take credit for that. focus on trust, those signals, those EEAT signals. So focus on trust. Show your people, show who they are, show your expertise, show your memberships, show your credentials. Place yourself out there as the experts who are trustworthy. In your content, be specific, be local, and be niche. And make sure your content is well structured and easily readable. Whenever I'm writing content, I always think people first, write naturally, write as though I am talking to a friend or a relative. And then once I've written it in that way, I can go back through that content and think about how I can tweak it slightly in order to tick some of those SEO boxes that we've mentioned earlier on. Okay. And finally, remember, if your content does get cited or featured, mentioned in the AI overviews, it's a positive signal. It means Google trusts your content. It's a form of brand awareness. Remember, we spoke earlier on about being at the top of that funnel. You are reaching potential clients who they are at the very start of their journey, the top of the funnel, and even if at that stage the user doesn't click to visit your website, they've seen your brand, they know you exist, they are trusting the responses that they're seeing in the AI overview, and they may well return later on to buy a service from you, and of course that will necessitate a click. Okay. Wow. Okay. So I feel like we've flown through those slides. Firstly, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Just have a quick look. We've got 42 people on the webinar. That's fantastic. I really hope this has helped you understand a little bit more about what's going on with AI overviews and why it might be impacting your website stats, why you should embrace this as an opportunity and not a hindrance. Of course, if you need any help or advice in reviewing your website, maybe improving your existing content or delivering new content or defining a content strategy, then we're here to help. Just reach out to me or indeed any of the team at Access Point.